passion runs so deep, man. So much history, pageantry.
1 week closer to kickoff.
That's the way we answer.
It starts with culture.
It's a mentality, it's a way of life, it's a DNA.
College football free agency. Transfer portal.
The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins.
Say that. Say that again. Coaches only. Players only. Everybody. It's time.
College football is different. They're
Of the 12-team playoff.
Fire to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
For a new college football episode of Bet the Line, brought to you by Robbins Properties. If you're looking for a house, townhome, or apartment to rent or own in the central Iowa area, they are the people that will take care of you. That is Robbins Properties. I am your co-host, Mike.
I am your other co-host, Jake.
And I'm Q.
Well, fellas, getting closer to the season. What we're going to look at, later in today's episode, really the bulk of it is going to be SEC and ACC conference previews. Before we jump into that, I think we kind of just do a roundtable discussion on, what's going on in the world of college football right now. So this one's a little bit old from a few weeks ago, but when they had Big Ten Media Days, Indiana, specifically Kurt Cignetti, they recently just canceled a home and home with Virginia. And when he was asked about it, just said, we're gonna start taking an SEC approach to our non-conference football scheduling. Let's open it up for discussion. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on what Kurt Cignetti had to say and how he directly just threw the SEC under the bus?
I think he learned his lesson last year, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't really get, I don't know, the only hard teams he played last year he lost against. And I think the bottom 3 SEC schools could go toe-to-toe with Indiana. So,
yeah, to his defense, I don't blame him. It was proven last year that if you go 11-1 in a power conference, you're going to make the playoff. And the easiest way for Indiana to do so is to get an easy schedule in conference and just schedule 3 non-conference teams that you can beat.
They lost Curtis Rourke too, didn't they?
Yeah. I do think what I would wish would happen with all of college football is either I guess a couple things. First thing would be all the power conferences need to play the same amount of conference games. I don't care if it's 8, I don't care if it's 9, but right now the Big Ten and the Big 12 are both playing 9, whereas the ACC and SEC are playing 8. So step 1 would be all the Power 4 need to play the same amount. In this second part, this isn't necessarily my idea, but I think you have to do a 2-1 with your non-conference. So let's say you're playing 9 conference games. Your 3 non-conference games need to be, you can do 2 group of 5 teams or 1 group of 5, 1 FCS, whatever, and then another Power 4 team. I think that's the easiest way to even the playing field for everybody. And I just think it's until you can get everybody playing the same amount of conference games and non-conference games, there's always going to be a little bit of a difference between schedules. We always make fun of the SEC for week 13 of the season before rivalry week.
Cupcake game.
They all play Citadel. Yeah, they're playing nobodies, but then the flip side of that is, Clemson and LSU play week 1. Texas goes to Ohio State week 1. So it's I kind of get it in that respect, but it's just too inconsistent across conferences.
I don't know how good Indiana is going to be, and I'm going to touch on it later in the episode. But Q, you brought it up earlier, is how easy their schedule was last year, and I think that's going to be Nebraska this year. But yeah, I don't have much hope on Indiana this year.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, they can, like what they're doing, they could basically clear their path to a playoff by scheduling all these easy teams. But like, how many times can you play in the first round and lose by 20? Like how far do you keep going with that? Because I mean, yeah, you make the playoffs, but if you're Indiana, your second toughest game is the first round of the playoffs. You're always going to get, basically you're going to roll over and play dead. So I don't really know. I don't know. I just would rather be weathered a little bit by the playoffs.
I think in this era of mega conferences, we're always going to have an Indiana every year now. And I think the reason for that is, I guess, I don't really know what goes into them creating the conference schedules. But, like, you look at Texas and Oklahoma who just moved to the SEC. Texas had one of the easiest first, and even this year, really, like, conference schedules, where Oklahoma got the short end of the stick. But when you have 16 teams in a conference and you only play 8 conference games, you're only playing 50% of the conference. Like, it's kind of luck of the draw, but there's always going to be a team that's maybe not in that upper echelon that is going to have an easy schedule, where as long as you win the games you should, Mike, you mentioned Nebraska. As long as they beat everybody besides, the Oregon, the Penn State, whoever's on their schedule, when you're 10-2 at the end of the season, it's hard to not put a 10-2 team in from the Big Ten like Nebraska.
I was going to transition over to the John Mateer developments about sports gambling. I mean, he does have a point. He got, I don't even know who initially dug them up, but there were screenshots leaked from his Venmo transaction titles from years ago, and all of them said like sports betting, sports gambling. And then like the dates that he would Venmo those from, I saw like they actually did match up with dates that were actually college football games. But I mean, he come out and obviously denied it and said that it's an inside joke with his friends, which I can attest to that. Like, half of the Venmo transaction titles that I make are not for what they're actually for. So in that terms, it's kind of like, yeah, and they also don't have any proof.
Whether it's a joke or not, I feel like the situation that he's in college football, and the importance around like college sports betting and gambling, I would just leave that completely out, whether it's a joke or not. Like, there's plenty of other things you can joke around with, but I don't know.
I mean, I kind of like what Q said, right? Like, I could Venmo either one of you right now, and I could say this is for McDonald's, and really I could be Venmoing you $10 for like, hey, I owe you $10 for something completely unrelated. Like, that's the thing. I mean, if I was a betting man, which I am guessing that those actually were for real bets. Considering one said USC versus UCLA, and it like was the day of the game or the day before the game, but there's no way to prove that, because it's not like he was loading up an actual sports betting account. Like, it's just going from one Venmo account to the other. So there's no way to prove it. I don't think anything's going to come of it, but pretty dumb.
It's definitely you could have hit it a little bit better.
Good lesson for the future. Yeah, you could have said like literally anything else. Yeah, you literally just fast food chain and call it good. I'm sure you're texting whoever it is to let them know.
It almost makes it seem like it's so obvious that maybe it wasn't sports betting. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I'm with you, Jake, but just how obvious it is. Maybe it was a joke. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just the fact that this was from a couple years ago when he was playing football for Washington State. Like, this wasn't.
But still, like, it doesn't matter where you're playing. You know the grounds of like a college athlete or college coach is like, they can't bet on anything, no matter what. So,
yeah.
I think that, like I said, I don't think literally anything's going to come of it, because there's no way to prove what it was actually for. But I do think if anything were to come from it, like, we would already know. Because, like, if you think of like the sports betting scandal with like Iowa State and Iowa a couple years ago, like, they had those kids' accounts. They knew how much they were depositing. They knew what games it was at. Like, it just came so fast, and they had so much information where, like, in this case, all it is a Venmo transaction. Like it's $10 from a checking account to somebody else's checking account. Like it's something to talk about, but nothing really more than that.
Yeah. That's all I had to say on that.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy. Like who dug those up though in the first place?
Anything else going on in the world of college football right now that we should talk about?
I don't think so. No.
No. Okay. So we'll jump in first. We have our SEC conference preview. Year 2 with Oklahoma and Texas. Year 2 of the mega conference, if you will. Let's jump in, fellas. I mean, I'll start out. I'm kind of just going to run through how I see the SEC as a whole. I'll wait to share with you guys my actual conference championship game matchup and what have you. But really, this is how I grouped everybody. So at the bottom of the conference, Kentucky and Mississippi State. I think we can all agree there's 0% chance either of those teams are going to win the SEC championship. Up next, I have the people want me to fall in love with these teams, but I won't category. And that's the Auburn Tigers and the Florida Gators. Up next, I have the Texas A&M category, kind of similar to those, but this is like every year people will tell you why you should take Texas A&M. And I'm done doing it. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. Following that is kind of the tier where you have a lot of teams that could compete for it. Seems like they're always in the mix, but I don't see them as – we'll get to the big three in a minute, but I don't see them in that echelon yet. So that's Tennessee, Ole Miss, LSU, Oklahoma, Missouri, and South Carolina. And then at the top of it, like I said, I think there's a big three: Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. I know Alabama kind of took a step back last year, first year with Kalen DeBoer, but I firmly think that they're in that same group as Texas and Georgia. So that's kind of my just hierarchy rankings of the teams individually. Sorry, I did miss one category. I have Vanderbilt and Arkansas in the category of fun quarterbacks, also with no chance to win the conference championship.
Didn't he come out and say like
Vanderbilt
something
and
like
Taylor Green at Arkansas.
crazy in an interview? Yeah,
He said they're going to win a national title.
Yeah, he's at Vanderbilt to compete.
I mean, we
for the title.
appreciate the comedy out of him, but it's not possible in my eyes.
Hey, they got a ring for going 7-6 though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Who gives a ring for that? I didn't really do what you did. I kind of just like picked up on like who I think is gonna be in the SEC championship. I mean, I have Texas, Alabama. I can touch on it in a little bit, and then I have like my sleeper teams for the SEC is South Carolina and then Florida. But like everybody below that, I don't think really has a shot. I kind of believe in Auburn. I mean, just this is his last shot. I mean, he's got to get it done. So
this is what I did, and this hurt my brain trying to figure all this out. So I went. I think that's like the top 8. Yeah, top 7. I went through the top 7, and I picked out like what their records would be, just conference records. So I have Florida at 5-3. I have LSU 6-2, Texas 6-2, Georgia 6-2, Bama 5-3, USC 5-3, Texas A&M 7-1. So I have Texas A&M versus Texas in the SEC championship game. Gig 'em. I got the Aggies winning, doing the exact opposite of what you said, Jake.
So you just did this and said gig 'em.
No, I don't know what they did. They do something like this though. They do gig 'em. They do something. I don't know.
Okay, let's start then. Let's talk.
I don't
about
get the
Texas
hype behind
A&M.
him. So yeah, I want to hear.
I guess. Yeah, I just think like I mean I don't mind Marcel Reed. I guess coming in like year 2, I think he'll improve. But to me, it's Texas A&M. They're gonna go 8-4. Like I said, like everybody's gonna tell me every reason under the sun why Texas A&M is going to do well, and I'm going to be like, well, the product on the field every single year, the last 10 years tells me they're going to be 8-4, overhyped, and I mean, I don't know what more you want from me.
But the cycle's got to stop. Like for Penn State, the cycle's got to stop eventually, you know?
Completely different situation, though.
Completely different situation, but I don't know. I think this is the year for the Aggies. I do love Marcel Reed, though. But their defense is going to be insane. Their offensive line is humongous. Like, they will maul teams that don't have a big enough D-line. So they have likely the best ground game with arguably the top dual threat quarterback in the conference. It's just their receivers aren't really there. They got what's his face out of North Carolina State, Conexion or whatever his name is. So, but I mean, obviously there's concern with Marcel Reed passing the ball, but he's only going to get better. He's a true freshman last year, so.
I don't. I think they'll have a very similar record of
I'm with you,
South
Mike.
Carolina last year, like 9-4.
Yeah.
I also think, I'm assuming that Q, if you have Texas versus A&M in the championship game, that means you're going to play back-to-back weeks.
Yep, I do.
That'll be interesting. That'd be cool to see.
It almost happened last year.
So are you fully out on Florida?
Yeah, that's true.
If Texas A&M won, their schedule is insane. Like I think, I don't know, and like I don't think DJ Lagway is making it through the season. I think he's gonna get injured. I think he's gonna go down, and then I think they're gonna lose like 3 straight because of it, and then it's gonna be a typical Billy Napier Florida season. I don't know, but you can only cry about your hard schedule for so long. It is tough that they do get the shtick of it, but I don't know.
They have
got
a
a
gauntlet for sure, but like you have another off season of development for DJ Lagway. Obviously, like around the talk of college football is he could be a Heisman candidate this year if he's healthy. So you have him. You have 15 starters returning to this team. You also, it almost felt like Billy Napier had it figured out last year when they went that last 4-game stretch and they went and knocked off 2 ranked teams, LSU and Ole Miss. So it almost felt like they had it figured out. And then you have like, I don't want to like come off strong here, but like Florida fans need to get ready for the name of Jaden Baugh, the freshman running back from last year, who had like flashes of breakout caliber potential. I mean, in the Kentucky game, he had 106 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's just one of them. And then you have a coach who's fighting for their job. Like if Florida does not get it done this year, I think he's out. So I think, I don't know. I'm still on the Florida bandwagon, and I think the Swamp could be back.
I think, Mike, I think everything you just said to me is like the reason I categorize Florida as people want me to fall in love with them, but I'm not going to do it. Like, their schedule is just insane. Like, and I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you have a tough schedule, there's still expectations at Florida, and I just
felt like they had it
going
figured out at the end of last year, and it was just a little bit too late. 8-4, yeah.
See, you're telling me why I should.
Yeah,
fall
because
in
I'm
love
on
with
this
them right
island
now.
by myself,
Like,
boys. I need somebody.
It felt like
I was over there, but no, not anymore.
I was over there a few months ago, Mike. Like in our last episode, we talked about it. I totally forgot, but a few months ago, I texted you and I was like, "Hey, Florida's win total, it's definitely going over." And then I had a little bit of time to think about it and remember that Billy Napier's still the head ball coach down there, and DJ Lagway's already dealing with some type of injury. He's like, I don't know. I don't see him. Too much of a gauntlet, too hard of a schedule for them to truly get back to.
Yeah, and then
what
like
they used to be.
I guess another team that I'm on an island by myself with is South Carolina. I think they could have the best player in the SEC with Lenore Sellers. I was out on him all last year. If you guys listened last year, was not a fan. I learned my lesson multiple times. I know the lock of the week parlay lost twice because of that, because I bet against Goggles himself. But, yeah, I think Shane Beamer has an amazing team on paper, and we just need to see it play out like in front of our eyes. They went 9-4 last year. I get it. It's a new season. You start 0-0. But, yeah, I just think it's going to be a special year in Columbia. You have a Heisman candidate and that threw for 2,534 yards, 656 rushing yards, 25 touchdowns or something crazy like that, and then 7 interceptions. So, I mean, you give that quarterback, just like I said with DJ Lagway, an offseason to develop even more, and you have a good defensive line coming in. You have one of the best edge rushers in the freshman class this year coming in, who's been tearing it up in camp. So I'll be on an island with South Carolina too. It won't be the last time I talk about him either. So
Q, I'll let you go first. We're in the same boat on South.
I just learned my lesson last year, boys.
Look, like they're a fun team to want to like, but I don't know. Like, and I love Shane Beamer, but I don't know.
I'm in the same boat. Like, I think Shane Beamer's a great coach. I think in this area of college football, like, he's doing everything you can do with a program that's not like
absolutely
a 5-star program. But I think I like Lenore Sellers. I love Dylan Stewart. I actually think he's probably going to be a top 10 pick in the draft when he can come out. But they just lost so much from last year's team, like everywhere. So I think South Carolina is kind of like the SEC darling right now. Like, people want to take them as like the under the radar team, but I see them taking a step back personally.
Yeah, they lost their top 6 on defense outside of Stewart.
Right.
So they lost a lot on
heavy
defense.
on the freshman class.
I don't know. I kind of like LSU, but it sucks because I can't stand Brian Kelly. I can't stand him. I think he's a horrible coach. But I think LSU will be good enough to kind of like 2019 LSU, like Ed Orgeron did not need to coach that team at all. That team was just that good. I think this year's LSU's team is obviously not that good, but I think they're good enough to win them games outside of Brian Kelly. So, but I just can't see them making it far towards the end of the year if Brian Kelly is still there. I don't know. That he's literally the only thing holding that team back right now. I mean, arguably the best skilled players in the country. They have Nuss Bus. Their O-line is pretty young, but it's just Brian Kelly for that team.
I think LSU is interesting for sure. Like, I'm going to say this. I don't even think this is a spoiler for anything in future episodes, but like, I've just come to accept that Brian Kelly's going to lose week 1, his non-conference Power 4 game. He's 0-3 in season openers with the Tigers, so he's going to be 0-4 once they leave Death Valley. And then it kind of seems like LSU rights the ship for the next 6-7 games, and they're 7-1, and then they always fall off. But yeah, Garrett Nussmeier, he's going to be a first-round pick next year's draft. They have a ton of talent at receiver this year, but LSU to me they're a better Texas A&M. Like, I don't see them making this championship, but like, they have the guys. If they can put it all together, they could. You could make a legitimate case for them.
Yeah.
But like, again, I've seen it before. I like them to probably be around like 9-3 or 10-2.
I can see that. It's the same story every year. What
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think
I was just gonna pick up on.
I was gonna throw out.
We'll cut that out. Go ahead.
You're good. Yeah. How we feeling about Oklahoma, fellas? Kind of talked about it in last week's episode, but John Mateer comes to town, comes over with Washington State's offensive coordinator. Brent Venables, year 4. kind of has the back against the wall. You got to do something this year in order to keep the job. But I think Oklahoma gets a bounce back here. I don't know what that record is in the end, but they were 6-7 last year if you include the bowl game. I definitely think they're better than that. 8-4, 9-3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were scrambling for a quarterback all last year. I feel like they were trying to look for an answer of who could be the starting quarterback. They have that figured out this year, and yeah, I think they could be in talks for possibly an SEC championship. I know, Q, I'll let you go, but you're very high on, obviously, John Mateer and Oklahoma, so go ahead, let it rip.
Yeah, and I kind of already touched on it last episode with just how their team is being pieced together by transfers. You have John Mateer, you have Ott at running back, who was a highly sought-after running back. Those are both transfers. And then you have 8 new pass catchers for this year, which that's worrisome for any quarterback. It could be whoever you want to say the best quarterback in college football in today's game is. He could have 8 new pass catchers, and that'll still be tough for anybody. So that's kind of interesting to follow up on, but their defense will be there. Their defense will probably be the best in the conference. So, even I'd say even a top 30-ish offense will make Oklahoma a top 15-ish team. So it's basically just going to depend on how well Mateer meshes with his 8 new pass catchers. So I don't know. They'll definitely be, and if you can get a couple games to go right and you lose a couple and you're staring at 10-2, who knows what'll happen
here. And it's on, if you guys are correct with South Carolina, and then I don't know, we haven't touched on them yet, but Tennessee I'm not too high on. They have a very favorable schedule. They have Michigan at home for non-con. The other 3 games, Illinois State, Temple, Kent State, you should be able to get by them. So you go to the SEC, you get Auburn at home, you get LSU at home, you get Ole Miss at home, Missouri at home. So that's good. And then here's where it gets tough. You have Alabama on the road. That's going to be your how good are we type of game, kind of like when Indiana went to Penn State last year. And you have South Carolina. Who knows how good South Carolina will be this year? You have Tennessee. They lost their quarterback late in the transfer portal, so they kind of had to scramble, find a quarterback. And then you have Texas at Texas. So they have 2, in my eyes, they have 2 tough games on the road. So, yeah, I think they could be for sure up there. It just depends on if they can have this quarterback situation finally figured out and if John Mateer is the real deal for him. Yes.
Texas game will be neutral, though, because that's the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, which that's who I have. I had Texas at 6-2. One of their losses I had to Oklahoma in that game.
So I just want to, before I think we're going to jump to the big 3 in a minute. Mike, you mentioned it. I kind of agree. I think Tennessee kind of takes a little bit of a step back this year. I would love to see an elite quarterback in Josh Heupel's offense. That's all I can really say. I think it's a very quarterback-friendly offense. I mean, he used to be a quarterback. But if they can fix the quarterback position, I think Tennessee will be a great team. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, I'm sure Ole Miss is going to be 8-4, 9-3, probably have an upset or 2, probably lose a game or 2 they shouldn't. I think it's the same thing. In Missouri, Missouri to me is kind of like the SEC team that, Mike, you mentioned it with Nebraska earlier in the episode. They have the schedule that they could be 10-2 at the end of the year. And not really a great 10-2 team, but kind of like a, ranked number 12. You're looking at the end of the year who gets an at-large bid, and there's an SEC team that's 10-2. Right. Missouri could be that team. I don't love them. Personally, if we're just talking roster to roster, I don't think they're that good, but I think their schedule could allow them to, sneak in the back door of the playoff.
10-2 SEC team, you're in. So, and like you said earlier in the episode, a lot of it comes down to scheduling nowadays. So, yeah, I say
Right.
Q, lead us into the big three here.
I'm talking about Georgia, Bama, Texas.
Brother.
Yeah.
I just want to hear your take on Alabama.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's just my hatred getting in the way of not seeing them as a good football team, or getting in the way of seeing them as a good football team, I should say. Yeah, it's just the quarter. Like, who's gonna steer the ship, man?
Simpson is
I don't know.
Q, I'll answer that question for you.
You're a Ty Simpson believer?
No. So here's what I'll say. I am all in on Alabama being back as the Alabama that we've come to know over the last 15 years. They have elite players at every single skill group or position group on both sides of the ball, apart from quarterback. Ryan Williams, LT Overton, Justin Jefferson, Damani Jackson, Parker Brailsfield, Caden Proctor. Like, the talent is around the quarterback, and I've seen Alabama win multiple national championships with non-elite quarterbacks. A.J. McCarron, Greg McElroy. Pretty sure Blake Sims won a national championship with Alabama.
Mac Jones.
I would rather – he was probably an elite college quarterback to his defense. Professional. But point being, I would rather have – if you can give me either an elite quarterback in no elite position groups or all elite position groups and a non-elite quarterback, I would take that. Like, Ty Simpson, do I think he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time? Absolutely not. But everybody's on the bus. Ty Simpson just has to drive the bus. That's all we're asking you to do, Ty.
So I bet
he crashes.
I'm just going to read what I have written down here and tell me your thoughts on it. So I said it earlier, Alabama has a top 5 defense coming into this season. They returned 15 starters from last year. That's a team that just missed the playoffs. You have a redshirt quarterback, Ty Simpson, who was there last year. I think he got the starting job officially. But they also have a five-star freshman quarterback, Keelan Russell, who was tearing it up in preseason camp. Like you said, Jake, they have a lot of star power returning. There's so many people that were out on DeBeer and jumping off the Bama bandwagon. You got to remember that he had to replace 30 players from last year's team. Like when Nick Saban retired, he had to replace 30 players on that roster. That is hard to do. And he barely missed the playoffs. So I am fully in on Alabama, Jake. I will jump on the island with you. I think Bama's back.
I also think the only thing I'll add, I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach, and he's proven that at Washington, and before that he was the coordinator at Indiana, and before that, he was at Sioux Falls for how long? Like, he wins everywhere he goes. But yeah, you just replaced Nick Saban. Like, and I'm not saying that Alabama talent-wise took a huge fall, but like, those are big shoes to fill. That's the greatest college football coach of all time. So like, I'm going to give you a pass in year one. Yeah, and I fully believe in Kalen DeBoer.
And like I said, Nick Saban retires, he goes there. As soon as he gets there, he sees. 30 people enter the transfer portal from Bama. Like, you have to replace that. That's not easy. And he still had a team that just missed the playoffs. So
right.
You give him an offseason to finally get his recruitments in there and not rush his portal class and freshman class. And I think they will be in the SEC championship. I think they will win it, to be honest with you.
Yep. Let's talk about Georgia. I have a hot take.
I have a hot take too.
I shouldn't say hot take, but I think we're about to see with Georgia what we saw with Clemson, like the post 2015 to 2020 era of Clemson football. I think Georgia's still going to be good. They still get the recruits every year. They still have Kirby Smart. But I think fans are going to realize, like Clemson and Dabo, there is no matching what Nick Saban did at Alabama. It's the greatest dynasty of our lifetimes. So we saw Georgia rise to, the top of college football and win back-to-back national titles. I think we're kind of going to start to see Georgia go like 9-3 and 10-2 every season for the next few seasons. I think it's just so hard. And I know that Georgia fans can probably tell me why they're not going to do that. And that's not the expectation of Georgia football. And that's great. But like, we saw it with Clemson. Clemson was the closest thing to Alabama. And, look at them the last 5 years.
Yeah. And, you have Kirby Smart. I mean, you're always going to be top of the conference in and out of the playoffs every year, so.
Right. Mike, what's your take on Georgia?
I couldn't agree more. I'm not a big fan of them this year. I think they will make the playoffs, but they won't be in the championship game for the SEC.
I'm not a believer in Stockton either. I mean,
No.
I think if there's a program where you don't need a great QB1, Georgia's a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
Betson Bennett was not elite.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Don't get the wrong idea, but I don't think that he's anything special.
I'm not a believer in him, but at the same time, you have to remember it is Georgia. He's going to have great players around him to make him be good. But it just comes down to we all thought Q was crazy last year at the beginning of the year for saying Carson Beck isn't the answer, and he wasn't. So I almost feel like you're going to get that same time you got from Carson Beck last year with Stockton.
Yeah. I don't know. Georgia, I'm sure they'll be there all season. They'll be top 10, but it's going to look different than what we kind of grew accustomed to, start of the 2020s.
Yep.
Let's finish with Texas. Steve Sarkisian, Arch Manning. The era is officially upon us.
Yeah, first time in program history being preseason ranked 1 in the top 25. I know we don't care about rankings on this podcast, but
if there is a team you're going to rank preseason number 1, it's Texas.
Yep.
I am all in on Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian this year. I think that, to me, they're like Alabama with the elite quarterback. They're elite at every position on the field. They're fast. They're strong. They can compete with everybody. They could have competed with everybody last year, and I mean they did, but Quinn Ewers took a step back from 2023 to 2024, and Arch Manning is here to take that step back forward.
I do think he will be an absolute stud for them. I know I hated him last year. Cute. I thought he sucked. Yeah. I think he'll be good this year.
Say that again. Just one more time.
Nope. That's the only time I'm saying that. If I need to say it again, I'll say it again, but
I just think it's crazy to imagine a Manning with legs, a Manning that can run. And that's what Arch Manning is.
Yeah.
And I have wrote down here exactly what you said, Jake. I mean, they're just loaded with tons of projected first-round talents and 4- and 5-star recruits coming in. So, and you have the best quarterback possibly in college football this year. So, yeah, Texas for sure. Will be good. Who do you guys, before we move on to the ACC, who do you guys have in the championship game for the SEC?
Mine is Texas and Alabama.
Texas, Alabama. Same.
Mine's
it's a coin toss for me on who's going to win it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say Texas.
I got Texas Tech. I got Texas A&M over Texas.
Yeah, I have Texas, Alabama, and I take Alabama over Texas. So
I said I'm taking Texas as if that's going out on a limb, taking the preseason number 1 overall team to win it. But I don't know. I love them. That's all I can say.
All righty, let's talk about the ACC.
ACC.
I have never been more bought into a team than I have with this year's Clemson team. They're going to be insane. Didn't like them at all last year. I fucking love them now. They have an 80% return rate, which is 27% above the national average. They got a Heisman front-runner at Cade Klubnik. He has 3 of his top 4 receivers returning. Their defense was really young last year, so they'll be better this year. They'll be experienced. Boys, this is the year. I have Clemson going at least 11-1. I kind of have them losing to South Carolina at the end of the year. But, I mean, their schedule is so light, too. They could go undefeated. I think I have them against Louisville in my ACC championship game. But Clemson is literally the only team I wanted to talk about because I don't like either team to beat Clemson. I just don't think either team can keep up with Clemson. Miami is a close second, but one, they have Carson Beck, two, they have Mario Cristobal. So
I do think, I mean, Q, you said it, but the ACC this year is the most clear-cut conference. I don't think anybody's going to say any team other than Clemson. It's really just a matter of who's going to lose to Clemson in the conference championship game.
Yep.
yeah.
But, I mean, like you said, they're returning 16 starters, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. Heisman front runner and Cade Klubnik, going to be a first-round quarterback next year. Had 36 touchdowns last year. Another 7 on the ground, ran for 463 yards. You know, he's bringing back Brian Wesco Jr., Antonio Williams. I think the most exciting thing is probably going to be their defensive line, where they have Peter Woods and TJ Parker, who honestly both of them are probably going to be top 10 picks in next year's draft. But you got 4 out of 5 offensive linemen back. Offensively, really the big thing is going to be breaking in a new running back since Phil Maffa went to the pros. But it's Clemson. They recruit well. They don't transfer portal well, but they recruit well. So running back will be the one position that they need to figure out. But, yeah, it's Clemson, and then it's the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
And Clemson got Penn State's defensive coordinator, too. So
Tom Allen, that's what I was just about to pick up on. And you have
it's
not very, I mean, nothing new here, but for the college football world, it is kind of rare for no movement. But you have Garrett Riley, who stayed, so Cade Klubnik will have the same offensive coordinator for all 3 years so far. So that's huge. I think we all agree here that this is Clemson's conference to lose.
Yep.
I think they're built like an SEC team, so or a Big Ten team nowadays. I think they can compete with the best out there.
Clemson to me is truly like they're back.
Yep.
We're about to see 2016, 2018, 2019 Clemson football.
100% agree. Do you guys have any sleepers for the ACC or anybody you're out on?
I don't.
I'm out on Miami.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not out on Miami. Miami, here's the thing. Miami's bigger than the head coach. So to me, like, they're always going to be able to recruit well because we're talking about the U. So, like, they have talent on their roster. I know you guys hate Carson Beck. At least Quentin, you hate him. Mike, I don't like him. But, like, I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he's actually going to be – it's going to be a good situation for him leaving Georgia. I know everybody wanted him out. Like, he's going to find a good home there. You know, in the back of my mind, it's Miami, so I know they're probably going to choke and go like 10-2, 9-3. But I think I don't want to contradict myself because I just talked about SEC teams that people want to tell me why I should fall in love. Specifically Texas A&M, because Miami's like in the same boat where everybody tells you at the beginning of the year, this is Miami's year. And then they just end up going 9-3.
I just think I'm with Q. Carson Beck is the answer. I mean, you touched on it, how Miami, they're going to have talent, right? He was at Georgia. He had the talent of the talent that you can get. Still couldn't get it done. He had 12 interceptions, tied for first with the most interceptions in FBS last year. He's coming off an elbow surgery in the offseason. Also, Miami lost key pieces in Cam Ward, who went with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. They lost both starting cornerbacks, one to the NFL draft, one to the portal. And they also lost their starting tight end from last year who went to the NFL draft. So Miami lost over 1,800 receiving yards with deported players. So I'm just not going to buy into the Miami hype this year. I will say a team I'm excited about. I talked about them just a tad bit in last week's episode, but Duke, they took a big swing in the offseason. They did not mess around. They went and got Tulane's transfer, Darian Minsall, to be an upgrade over Malik Murphy at quarterback. And Malik Murphy, they won 9 games last year, and you have a better quarterback coming in this year. So I think sky's the limit for them. And last year they averaged 26 points a game last year on the offensive side, which tied with SMU for the ACC most points averaged. And then they tied with the SMU as well for lead sacks, 43. So, and they're returning pretty much their whole defense. So, yeah, I love Duke this year.
I like Duke, and I think it's going to be interesting week 2 when they host the Fighting Illini. I think that is just a big game for each team.
Yeah.
Like, that could change the trajectory of your entire season. You win that, you're feeling good. You lose that, and you're already looking ahead to, other trap games on the schedule.
I have down that is like one of the games I'm looking forward to because you're going to find out how good Duke is that game against Illinois. And you're going to find out how good Illinois is. So
I kind of like Louisville with Miller Moss. They got their running back too. But they play SMU, Clemson, and Miami. 2 of those are away. So that might be enough to keep Louisville out of the ACC championship game. I think I have Georgia Tech. No, I have Clemson versus SMU in my ACC championship game. I like SMU too. I know Mike doesn't really like Kevin Jennings that much, but
I like Jennings.
Oh, I thought you didn't.
No, I like him. I like SMU.
I do too.
I think SMU would be very good.
I think SMU is going to be really good too. Great for SMU for, I know they had to pay a boatload of money to leave. I believe they were in the American Conference to join the ACC and in year 1 go to not only the conference championship but the college football playoff. And they're also a team that you'd be surprised, but they actually have a lot of money for NIL and what have you. I don't know that they'd ever be the premier team in Texas, but they certainly have the resources there, and now they're in a power conference. So
they have a nice schedule too.
Yeah. I don't think this team is gonna make the conference championship. But I think they're in I feel like there's probably 9 or 10 teams in the ACC that you can make a case for them making the conference championship. And I think Pitt is in that group. Specifically, Eli Holstein. If you've never watched Eli Holstein play quarterback, I watch a Pitt game this year.
He's electric.
He is electric. He's fun. They started off 7-0 last year, and then if I'm not mistaken, he actually got hurt, and then the team literally just fell apart the second he got hurt. So they're no Clemson, but they could be one of those fun teams that, they're ranked 15th, 16th, making a run at the conference championship. A few things go right. Maybe they sneak in. But
I just think it's a race for second in that conference.
Yeah, it's a huge race for second.
Yeah.
I have SMU's schedule pulled up here just to talk about it a little bit, but they have obviously Clemson is the team to beat. They're going to win the conference most likely. They have them on the road, but you get Miami and Louisville both at home, and you don't have to play Pitt as well. So, yeah. Now thinking of it, I think SMU does have a shot here to possibly be in that ACC championship game. I know I'm still on the bandwagon of Duke and Clemson being there, though.
Should we talk about the Florida State Seminoles?
No, they're not even worth the time of day.
If you want to let it go, then go, man, but I'm out.
I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't know. I really don't. Like, I just, the only reason I bring them up is it's like, we're talking about Florida State. Like, this isn't South Florida. This is like a premier. I don't want to say they're a blue blood. I don't know if I'd put them in that mix. Like, that's like the most elite group of 8 in college football's history. But Florida State is, in that second tier of programs of all time. And, 2-10 season. I think it goes without saying that Mike Norvell is on the hot seat, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to be very good. I just think they're an interesting watch. And Tommy Castellanos, as we talked about last week, lost the starting job at Boston College last year, transferred to Florida State. He's QB1, has already said. Not verbatim. I don't remember the exact words, but basically like he's Alabama's kryptonite.
Do you think if they have a bad season this year, do you think they're going to fire him?
Yeah. I think you got to pass only because we talked about it on last year's episodes, but the entire college football world after they got snubbed from the playoff, like literally just, gave them we feel so bad for Florida State. You guys got robbed. You deserve so much better.
Right.
And they could just never get past it. Like, I know it sucks, but like, it's a new season. You got to move on.
Yeah.
That set them back for years.
It did. It really did. And they did lose a lot of talent from the previous year.
Yeah.
Can we talk about UNC?
Oh, you think UNC is going to be something here?
I don't think they're going to be something, but I think they're going to be probably one of the most interesting teams in college football.
It's going to be a train wreck.
Bill Belichick, greatest NFL coach of all time. Come on. No, I really don't. I have no idea. Like, they're the one team to me. I feel like I could go through the ACC and tell you at least whether or not a team's going to be good. They're the one team that I have no idea on. Like, they brought in 37 transfers. Almost Colorado-esque from 2023. But, like, I don't know. It's Bill Belichick. Like, I'm not going to bet against Bill Belichick. That's what's in the back of my mind.
I'll bet against him.
Yeah,
I think they go 500.
Everything I've been reading, I'm with you, Q. It sounds like it's a dumpster fire over there.
Like, yeah, they got 37 transfers, but look what Colorado did with that many transfers. Like, not to throw shade, but I mean, it doesn't. Quality over quantity.
I don't know. I'm big into the coach. That's all I can say.
I think it is going to be a train wreck, though. Like, I don't know. I'm just not bought in. If they can get 9 wins this year, I will be.
I'm looking at their schedule. It's not bad. Like, you get Duke and Clemson at home, and then it's just, you have Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, NC State, and Wake Forest, and Cal. That's easy.
That's what I'm saying. They do play. So they play TCU week 1.
Yeah. But I'm talking conference-wise here.
Right. So I do think they're going to – I don't want to say they're going to lose it. I don't want to jump into, like, the Big 12 conference preview. But – because I like TCU. That's all I'm going to say. But it's at home. Like, if you can win that game week 1, I don't know. It could change a lot of people's opinion on you.
And the fact that you don't have to play Louisville, you don't have to play Miami. You get Duke and Clemson, your 2 tough games, and they're both at home.
Do they play SMU?
They don't even play SMU. Their schedule is this. You have TCU at home, Charlotte, Richmond at home, UCF at UCF, and then you start with ACC play. You have Clemson at home. Then you go to Cal. You come back for another home game with Virginia. Go to Syracuse. And then you come home for Stanford. And then you go to Wake Forest. And then back home for Duke, and then you're at NC State. So the college football.
That's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
You think that's hard? You think that's a
Now-
tough schedule?
I mean, at NC State, that'll be tough. You said at Syracuse, and it's tough playing in that dome.
I think they're 7-5. I think they're going to a bowl game this year.
That's the goal, right? First year. I mean,
That is the goal. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about North Carolina football. Like we're not talking about Clemson football, Florida State football. Like there's not expectations on the North Carolina football program.
couldn't agree more. You know what, Jake? You sold me.
I will say this now. I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself. Name one player on the North Carolina football roster. I can't do it. I'm
Isn't
betting on
Drake?
Bill.
Did Drake May's brother leave?
I have no idea.
Or no, Mayo, that Mayo guy.
That's a different name than May, so don't think it's his brother.
May.
But I don't know. But yeah, I think, to me, I don't think they're going to compete in any way, shape, or form. But Florida State and North Carolina are just interesting teams. Like I'm going to be following along with them this season.
Yeah, before you started talking, I was completely out of North Carolina. Did not care to follow along. From what I've been reading, it's a dumpster fire. But looking at the schedule, and obviously like Billy B being your head coach first year, you said they brought in 30 transfers.
37.
37. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch. I'll see what can happen here. Jake, I'm going to let you start with Tulane because I know you and I are very high.
So group of 5. You know, I didn't want to pick the obvious one. The easy answer right now would be to say Boise State's going to be the group of 5 representative. You can make a case for probably like 5 other teams. I think Boise State's just the easy one because they did it last year. Obviously, they lost Ashton Genty, but they do bring back Madsen, their quarterback. I just wanted to do something different, so I took the Tulane, the Green Wave. Tulane's been, knocking at the door as a group of 5 team for it seems like the last 5 years. Like they're always in the American Conference Championship game. Kind of worked out for him, but I believe Jake Retzlaff is going to be QB1 since he got kicked out of BYU, transferred to Tulane. That's the most important position in football, and he's got a lot of games under his belt, a lot of meaningful games. So I like Tulane to be the group of 5 representative in the playoff this year.
Yeah, and then they also went and got as a backup quarterback before he was supposed to be their starting quarterback before they got the BYU quarterback, but Iowa quarterback Brendan Sullivan, he's at Tulane as well. So, and then they also have a fairly good schedule to face like some decent competition. It's not like a cakewalk throughout the whole thing. And they have Duke, which will be a very tough game, but they get that game at home. So that's a great win if you can win that.
I give credit to Tulane too because it seems like they always kind of, actually schedule non-conference games. Do they play Arkansas this year? Or is that somebody else?
Let me look here.
As you're looking at that, like I remember they did a home and home with Ole Miss a couple years ago. Like they're at least trying to schedule.
I think they play at Duke, or they play Duke at home.
That's what I said. Yeah, they play Duke at home. So their schedule here is you have Northwestern, and that is it doesn't say at home. Northwestern, Army, South Alabama, UTSA, Duke, Memphis, Ole Miss, FAU, Tulsa, Temple, ECU, and Charlotte.
See, so they're strategic with their scheduling. Like they're scheduling Power 5 or Power 4 teams, non-conference. They're just not going for the big dogs. I like that Northwestern play. That's smart. Northwestern, Duke, Ole Miss. Like Duke and Ole Miss are good. Ole Miss is really smart. Like that'll let you know who you got as a team.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss in there. and it's later in the season. You got the team in a groove, hopefully.
Yep.
Q, who do you have?
I chose UNLV because they have a head coach, Dan Mullen, if that rings a bell for any of you guys. Former Mississippi State, Florida head coach.
Sure does.
Oh yeah. So he went to UNLV. They have an easy schedule. They play UCLA at home, and then they play at Boise. But those are the only two hard games on their entire schedule. I have them going 11-1 with losing to Boise, and I have them beating UCLA, and then they'll meet up with Boise in the conference championship, and then I have UNLV making it. But they have 16 former blue chippers on their team. So chemistry's not there, but I think Dan Mullen can piece that team together pretty nicely.
This Ole Miss game, just to pick up on Tulane again, the Ole Miss game is at Ole Miss.
Okay.
Still like them.
Yeah, I love Tulane too.
We can get into the playoffs. So I did it in tiers of – so I'm going to read the guarantees first. I just chose, instead of doing a bracket or choosing the top 12 teams, I'm just going to give 3 guarantees that can make the playoffs. And so number 1, I have Texas. Obviously, preseason ranked number 1. They have probably the easiest SEC schedule, one of the easiest SEC schedules, so that helps. So I chose them as a guarantee because they'll probably most likely enter the playoffs with 1 loss. And then another one I have is Notre Dame. They're at the free will of controlling who they schedule to play. It's not always easy, but it's typically easier than any playoff teams. So I have Notre Dame thrown in there because they'll likely get into the playoffs as a 1-loss team that's ranked 5th the whole year. And then number 3, I have Penn State as one of a guarantee to make the playoffs. They don't have that bad of a schedule. They have Oregon at home. They'll probably win that. But then they have back-to-back away games at Iowa, at Ohio State. I think they'll enter the conference championship game at around 11-1, 10-2 maybe, but 11-1 with a loss to Ohio State. So 11-1, even if they lose in the Big Ten, 11-2, they'll probably make it. They have won 24 consecutive games while being favored by at least a touchdown, and they are 0-7 in underdog games under James Franklin. So they win the games they're supposed to. They lose the games they're supposed to. The only game they're projected to lose this year is Ohio State. So Penn State has a guarantee. Should be in Clemson. If they slip up at all on their schedule, it'll hurt them because of how – well, they're a guarantee. But I'm just saying if they slip up at all on their schedule and they win it at 11-2, well, if they win it, they're going to be in. But if they lose it, I don't know. So I only said should be in because if they slip up on their schedule, lose a trap game, lose the ACC, I don't know. Just because that conference is so weak. Another should be in Georgia. They have Kirby Smart. So he always finds a way to get to the SEC championship game and a way to get into the playoffs. And then another should be in is Oregon. We have arguably the easiest Big Ten schedule this year. So if we take care of our schedule and make the Big Ten championship game with one loss, they should be in. And then sleepers, I have Florida and Oklahoma. I have paired up to each other. So Florida and Oklahoma, because they're in the same boat. If they can find a way to make the games they're supposed to lose to on the road, if they can find a way to make those games go right for them and win a couple of those games, and they're staring at 10-2 at the end of the year and they missed the conference championship game, I think they can sneak in too. So if they can get a couple of those games to go right for them, I can see them basically buying their way into the playoffs with how well those ranked teams, how well those ranked wins were. And then I have Utah. Nobody's talked about it, but there's going to be a Big 12 winner that makes the playoffs. So I have Utah winning the Big 12, so I have Utah as a sleeper because someone from the Big 12 is going to get in. And then I have Georgia Tech. They have a fairly easy schedule. If they can sneak their way into the ACC and get lucky a game and beat Clemson, then they'll be in too.
So, Quentin, just a question. You did is 3 locks, 3 should-be-ins, and 3 sleepers?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm normal. It's a 12-team playoff, so I'm just going to give you 12 teams.
I didn't know I didn't want to try to figure to do all that, so I just did 3-3-3.
Well, we're not going to hold it to you. I mean, I just read down 12 teams, so I'm just going to run through the list. Alabama, Clemson, Texas, Utah, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Tulane, Washington, and USC.
Oh, wow. Washington. That's crazy. I mean, I think they're going to be good this year.
Oh,
but
we're going to talk about Washington.
Their
Just
quarterback is nuts.
I'm shocked.
That's a
Washington.
crazy pick.
I was also a normal person, and I have Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Kansas, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Tulane. So
Wow.
And I have some stuff to talk about with Nebraska and Kansas, and we'll get into that next episode. But yeah, that's my 12. Who do you guys have winning it? If you had to pick one right now.
Clemson.
I don't hate the Clemson pick either. Yeah, Clemson.
All 3 of us Clemson. Anything else, boys?
Actually, I'll change it. If there's any team that on paper has one of the best shots, is probably Penn State. I know they won't because it's James Franklin, but Penn State can do it this year. Not very easily, but they're right there. So I'm going to choose Penn State.
Before you switch to that, I'm going to take us back down memory lane from last year. Jake and I, we did our little bracket prediction. Jake and I had the same bracket, and then he switched the Ohio State game. I can't remember who you had winning that game or whatever. And it threw his.
So
Go ahead.
We had the entire same brackets until the national championship. So you took Ohio State to win it all, and then I took Notre Dame.
Yeah, so you switched it to Notre Dame. I went with Ohio State. I got the perfect bracket because Jake switched. So do you want to stay on the wagon here with Clemson, or are you jumping off?
I'm sticking with Clemson at this time. Absolutely.
Q?
Yeah, I'll go back to Clemson.
There you go, big dog. Easy talk. All 3 of us Clemson.
I don't know.
I like that.
Penn State had a different head coach, but
all right, we will
Clemson.
we'll see you guys in episode 3. Reminder that we are releasing every Thursday this year. It's going to be a double episode this week. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe. Turn on bell notifications. That way it gives you a notification on your phone, iPad, laptop when we post. Other than that, boys, I'll see you on episode 3, Rock Chalk.
Skill Buffs.
Deuces.